Looks like we're live. Hello, hello, YouTube people. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all across the globe. This is VZ Rush for yet another video. Minasan konnichiwa, VZ Rush desu. Yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. Hi, so we're here to speak about hopefully some more useful and some more interesting stuff. Hopefully. Not that I'm interesting or anything like that, but I just wanted to share with you a couple of stuff in regards to, arriving in Japan, fresh off the boat, not knowing anything, how to get an apartment, how to open a bank account, how to get a job, and all that fun stuff, right? So I wanted to share my experience at least with you guys, and maybe hopefully some tips and tricks so that you can avoid to get yourself in trouble while arriving in Japan. So basically, you just arrived in Japan. Let's forget about COVID and all that stuff. You just arrived in Japan, and you got your Zaru card, which is your residence card, the card that shows your status of residence in Japan. You got yourself, let's say you got yourself 1 year visa in that card, regardless of whether it's a work and holiday visa or a work visa or specialist in humanities visa, anything like that, right? Or a Tokute Ginno and stuff like that. And you're looking to find an apartment. You've been spending a couple of days at your buddy's house, and you're kind of tired. You wanted to find an apartment, and this is maybe your first week in Japan. Well, we've all got that thought in the back of our minds when we arrived in Japan, and frankly speaking, there's nothing better than to have your own space when you're in Japan. A little bit of where I am before we get into the crunchy stuff. Province of Quebec, County of Two Mountains, regional area of Montreal, and this is an artificial lake. This place that you're looking at is an artificial lake. This is real sand, as far as I can tell. But we got a forest behind. Actually, I found a carcass, an animal carcass behind. I think it was like a coyote or squirrel. I mean, it must have been a very big squirrel if it was a squirrel. So you got your card, your residence card in Japan, and you're looking for an apartment. You got two ways to explore this situation. You got the foreign friendly way, which a lot of people like, by the way, because it's very simple. It's very similar to our way of doing things outside of Japan, but it comes with its share of negative stuff. You have the other way, which is the more traditional way, which is the way that every single Japanese citizen relies on, unless they have like Ju-oku, and which is 10 million yen or 10 billion yen or stuff like that, right? So I'll explain both of them. I'll explain both of them. So first one, the Western way. Let's call it the Western way. You're looking for an apartment, or at least a place to rent. What you can do is you can go to Craigslist in Japan, for example, Tokyo Craigslist, or Jobs in Japan. Some subcategories of the Jobs in Japan website have actually real estate stuff. There's another website called YOLO, which, if I'm not wrong, also have some housing opportunities. But to give you the best information you're looking for, if you're looking to rent a fast, quick place, there's a place called Sakura House, and it's a house share. You get to rent your own bedroom, and you can share the rest of the house with everyone else. You'll have lots of roommates, but the price is quite affordable. So the prices I got since January of 2019 were about 60,000 yen for a single bedroom in a big house. 60,000 yen, so 6만 yen. If you have if you have an entry-level job, if you work as a server at an izakaya, or if you work as even like a Starbucks barista, stuff like that, you will be able to afford that price. 6만 yen is not really that expensive when it comes to rentals, and unless you have less, that's actually a good option for you. The reason behind that is because of the fact that they'll ask you to pay a deposit. As far as I'm aware, they ask you to pay a deposit of half of the value of your monthly rental fee. So if it's Rokuman, 60,000 yen, what you'll have to pay is 30,000 yen as a deposit, just to make sure you don't cause them any trouble, you don't break anything, and that you'll respect everyone at home, right? So that's very simple. We didn't spend a lot of time speaking about this because, you know, it's intuitive, I guess. It's very intuitive, right? You don't have to worry about it. There's an animal here. The other way is the more traditional way, the Japanese way, the one every single Japanese citizen uses to rent a place, and that's through real estate agencies. Now, if you go to a real estate agency, things will be a little bit more complicated than to simply go to a share house and rent an apartment. Oh, by the way, share houses is only to rent actual rooms. I haven't seen any share house that rents you a whole apartment, and if it ever does, it goes by number of people. So, you know, when you try to rent a space, they ask you how many people are you guys, and then if you're 4, they give you a bigger space, but you're gonna have to pay a little bit more. But if you're on your own, if you're looking to rent a room for yourself, if you're willing to stay in Japan for a year or anything like that, for one person, that would be the ideal. And even if you have a girlfriend, she can still come and stay with you, and you won't feel that the space is small, right? The other way, the more traditional way, to not waste any more time, is to go through real estate agencies. Now, how it works, more complicated. You go to any of the wide range of real estate agencies in Japan. On top of my head, I remember one company called Mast, M-A-S-T, Masto in Japanese. And then when you go to that place and you show some interest in renting an apartment, an actual apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, they will give you, they'll assign you to an agent, obviously, and that agent is going to give you selections, numbers of apartments that you can select. They'll show you a variety of apartments depending on the layout, how big it is, how wide it is, how close to the train station it is, how far it is, whatever it is, and you select which one you like the most. For information, in Japan, how they qualify an apartment from another and what is the difference between the number of rooms, obviously, they don't call it the same way as us in North America or I guess in Europe. So if it's a 1-bedroom apartment with a dining room and a kitchen, an actual space for the kitchen, it's called 1DK, right? So D for dining room and K for kitchen. If you have a living room and 1 bedroom, dining room and kitchen, that would be in 1LDK. And every single Japanese knows those terms. If you need 2 bedrooms with dining, living and kitchen, that's going to be a 2LDK, and so on, right? If you need just 1 bedroom and a kitchen, you don't need dining and living room, well, that would be a 1K. So you select your 3, I guess, you get your selection of 3 places, and they'll actually, obviously they'll show you pictures, but not only pictures, they actually drive you to each individual place that you've selected. They show you around, they give you a tour, an actual real tour, at their own cost. You won't pay anything for that, even if it's like 40 kilometers away from what the location of the real estate agency is. They'll take you there. They'll show you the entire selection of the apartments that you've been interested to rent, and then they take you back to the agency and then negotiate. Negotiation part is a little tricky because they're going to ask you to show them a proof of employment. For them, a proof of employment means the last 3 pay stubs that you've got in Japan. So if you've just arrived in Japan, and no matter how much money you have, they will still need to know that you have a proof of employment, that you are employed. You need to be employed, I guess, before you go to rent a serious apartment in Japan. And so I didn't have any proof like that because I went to the real estate agency pretty much a week after I arrived in Japan. Didn't have a job. My ex, being a Japanese person, also didn't have a job because she was with me in Canada, and she has been working in Canada ever since, right? We didn't have any proof of employment in Japan, and they didn't allow us to rent. We had to have the help of her father, who rented the place under his name on his behalf. And then he advised the real estate agents that we are going to be the actual tenants. He's going to be the renter, the contract, I guess the contract owner. He's going to sign the contract. Everything is going to be under his name, but we are going to be tenants. You know, we are going to be responsible for whatever happens, right? And I really like that. Thank you very much, Oto-san. If you ever watch this video one day. So obviously you go back to the real estate agency, they negotiate. You have your proof of employment, let's assume that. You give them that proof of employment and you go through all the paperwork, right? Now, when it comes to the cost is going to be complicated because traditionally in Japan, when you go to a real estate agency, you need to pay them a fee because all what they do is not really free of charge. So they're going to charge you an equal amount to your monthly rate, the rental fee that you pay every month. So if you pay 100,000 yen every month, the real estate agency is going to charge you also 100,000 yen for the service that they've offered you. There's no fixed rate. It's always going to be equal to what the rental price is. On top of that, there's something called the maintenance fee that they charge you also, which is also equal to a month rate. You, on top of that, also have a key, the key money, which obviously is sort of, they call it key money, which means deposit, really, but in Japanese it has a different meaning. I guess we call it key money, but at the end of the line, that amount of money is not going to return to you at the end of the contract. Let me explain you why. Culturally in Japan, when you're granted to stay in an apartment, when the landlord accepts you as a tenant, you're expected to give them a gift or say thank you for accepting me. And that goes through, or it goes as an amount of money. So you need to give them, again, an amount that is equal to what your monthly rate is as a thank you. I've seen some people also on top of that, so we got agency money, we got key money, we got maintenance money, and on top of that I've seen people individually giving an actual gift, not a monetary gift, but a small gesture, I guess, a gift like a small omiyage or like cookies or stuff like that to the real estate agent that have helped you to find a place. That just adds a little more harmony and positivity into the entire relationship between you and the real estate agency, so that let's say a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, you go back to them and they have a good impression of you because you've been nice to them, and you know, you build that kind of relationship for the future, right? We never know what happens in the future, right? So you've got yourself the apartment, congratulations, it's awesome. Now what you need is to get these two next steps are connected. You need to get a job, right? But before you get a job, you need to get a bank account, because obviously you got your money from your home country and you brought a whole lot of money and you've used most of it into that big apartment. You need to open a bank account. Now, a lot of people would tell you that with their Zaru card, the Japanese residence card, whether it chose 6 months or 1 year or 18 months, they have not been allowed to open a bank account. I went to 2 Japanese banks and both of them authorized me to open a bank account. I just was so scared. Upon arriving to Japan, I've seen those videos in which people from different countries, from different places in the world say that, oh no, I went to Japan and they didn't allow me to open a bank account and it's crap and they didn't have a good... Well, I believe it was very simple. We went to a bank called JA Bank in the prefecture of Kanagawa, city of Kawasaki, Kawasaki-shi, Kawasaki-ku. If you go to Oshima 5丁目, if you know the name of that street, Oshima 5丁目is one of the main streets in Kawasaki-ku, you will see JA Bank. Blue logo. I'll try to attach the logo or maybe their website directly onto the video, so if you're interested to know where the location is that I went to, you can find it. So JA Bank allowed me to open a bank account. I did not open a bank account with them simply because they have a couple of limitations. which I'll share with you a little later, but it's really like financial limitations, fees and all that stuff. I went to another bank called MUFG, which is one of the main banks in Japan, MUFG, so Mitsubishi Bank. And I did the same thing, tried to open a bank account, and they allowed me to open a bank account. And my visa showed only 6 months. So as a Canadian, I had the right to stay in Japan under the work and holiday visa program for 1 year. But upon arriving into the country, they only gave me a card that shows 6 months, and they asked me to go to the immigration office to extend it for another 6 months. I don't know why they do that, but because the office in Shinagawa is absolutely packed all the time. I don't know why they ask people to go to renew their visas when they can just simply give them a 1-year visa outright. But this is how they do it, and frankly speaking, I did it and it was all good. And I actually extended my visa beyond that, and I ended up staying in Japan for 3 years. So I had to see that office many times, but it was all good. So bottom line, you can absolutely open a bank account no matter how much your length of stay is on your card. For me it was 6 months, it worked. So I opened my bank account, very simple. When they give you your pieces of your documents once you've opened your bank account, things work a little differently from the rest of the world. Now, when they give you cards, you get 3 cards. One is going to arrive via the mail, which is the Visa debit card, which is the one that you use just like in North America and Europe and all that stuff. It's not a credit card, by the way, but it's a card that you use to do like online purchases. You use it on Interac debit machines and all that fun stuff. You have another card, which is more of a cultural card. In Japan, everything is cash friendly. Like they tend to prioritize cash over anything else, just because of, I guess, it's cultural, it's easy. Money is something that you actually touch, right? They have a hard time with virtual money, right? And not a lot of places will have Interac debit machines or credit machines, all that. So you always are in the safe side if you stick to cash. So beware of that. Always plan some cash emergency money in case of such a situation, to avoid yourself from any embarrassment or something like that, right? So the second card, which is involved in our speech right now, is the cash card, and that's the card that you only use for the purpose of withdrawing or depositing money into an ATM machine. The ATM machine has to be, I guess, the bank ATM machine. Yeah, it has to be a bank ATM machine. You can go to those corner ATM machines, but they'll charge you a fee if you want to withdraw money. You can only withdraw money from mobile, I guess, portable ATM machines. But if you go to your bank's ATM machine, you can deposit and withdraw money only with your cash card. The cash card comes along with a booklet, a bank booklet, which serves you as a statement. Every time you do a transaction, every time, whether it's at your bank, at the ATM machine, or outside of your bank, virtually, online, that booklet is going to serve you as a statement. So you can just go to your bank, insert it, and automatically the ATM machine is going to print out all of your recent transactions into that booklet. So all you need to do is look at it and you'll be aware of what your statement looks like. You have a third card, which obviously offers you pretty much the same service online. That third card is really, you're only going to use it once, because that has a code, and that code is meant to be used so that you can activate your account on your mobile app. Once you've activated your account on your mobile app, you no longer need to use that third card. And in fact, I've actually lost it. I don't even know where it is, that card, right? So you got 3 cards. Visa debit cards for Interac machine oriented purchases, online purchases, and all that stuff. Cash card to withdraw and deposit money. And you got your mobile card. I just wanted to specify that when you get an employer, they'll automatically deposit your money into your account. You don't have to get the cash and deposit it. This is not the way it works. But just in case, if you withdraw money from a foreign account, you get the cash, you want to deposit it into Japanese bank account, or you can do it with that card. So you've opened your bank account, you got your apartment. Next thing, you want to have a job. You want to look for a job. I'll share real stuff with you. When I moved to Japan, I had $10,000 with me, 10,000 Canadian dollars, which is about 8,000-ish US dollars. When it changed into Japanese yen, I had 800,000 yen. The apartment that I rented was 100,000 yen a month. So I paid 100,000 yen a month. I paid my first month. I paid 100,000 yen for the agency fee. I paid 100,000 yen for the key money, right? So that's 300,000 off my bank account. So I'm left with what? 500,000 yen. Well, got into the apartment. It was empty, nothing, no fridge, no nothing. So obviously I had to go to Nitori, IKEA, a couple of like furniture stores to buy furniture, to buy a bed, to buy a fridge, to buy stuff. And I'm lucky I was with my ex, because if I was alone, I wouldn't even be able to afford the total cost of everything. Bottom line, after I've purchased all the, you know, the furnitures, and after paying for the apartment and everything, I was left with 100,000 yen left. So I arrived in Japan with 800,000 yen. After I bought everything I needed to buy, I only had 100,000 yen left. You cannot imagine the speed at which I was looking for a job. That time was November. It was November, so end of the year, holiday season, very, very hard to get a job. I was struggling. Your best friend in this case is Gaijin Pot. There's a website, Japanese website. I'll share that again in this video. It's called Gaijin Pot. It serves as a tool to get a job, to find a house, to find a place to study Japanese also. But people tend to use it for jobs, right? In my case, I have explored the website and just applied for everything. Till I got a call from a Japanese, what they call it, a Japanese headhunting agency. So I was a recruiter. In Japan, they have way more interviews that we do here in Canada. I don't know about the US because I've never worked there, but in Canada, you tend to have a phone interview, and that's basically part of the screening process. And then you go to the office and you have your real face-to-face interview. You know, as opposed to Japan, your face-to-face interview is usually with one person. It's just a one-on-one. Anyways, I had a phone interview, and then I had the second phone interview. Then they called me for a one-on-one interview. When I finished my one-on-one interview, they called me in again for an interview with two of them. The recruiter, the actual HR person, plus the director. And the third time, I had an interview with the manager, the CEO of the company. So I got 2 phone interviews and I got 3 face-to-face interviews. That was brutal, man. Woo! That amount of stress, I don't want to live that again. I ended up having the job. But then, when you start working in Japan, you really have to be careful as to, you know, who you work with. And my experience was not really good working for such a company. It was extremely disastrous. The salary was really good, but it wasn't just, I mean, it just wasn't a job for me. I was very new in Japan. I arrived in Japan in October of 2016, and I started working there on November 1st. Was that? No, December 1st, sorry. I started working there on December 1st, pretty much a month after I've arrived into the country. I didn't know much about the culture. They put me on the phone to speak with native Japanese people, and they were expecting excellence. I just couldn't do that. It was a nightmare for me because I couldn't speak Japanese. Obviously, they put you on the phone, you need to have a business relationship with a customer. I wasn't able to do that. I wonder how and why they hired me, but they were expecting me to learn a little faster than the reality of things. So I worked there for 3 months, but then they realized that I just didn't have the Japanese level they needed to actually become productive enough with that company. They hired me, then they realized I wasn't good enough for the job, so they fired me. And I ended up working as an English teacher. And that's how everything started to become joyful and happy. So it's pretty much how I dealt with it. That's my experience. But if you're looking to get a job, we got a couple of websites that can be very useful for you guys. First one is gaijinpot.com. There's another website, and I'm sorry if it's windy or if you cannot hear me, but there's another website called Jobs in Japan, which also has lots of job opportunities. Much faster to get a job through that website. And there's another website which is a little newer, which offers casual, sometimes part-time, temp job opportunities if you're into casual stuff. That website is a little newer than the others, and I'm not sure how efficient it is. I've never used it, but I've heard of it, and a lot of people recommended that I use that website at some point. It's called YOLO, YOLO, and that's what the kind of website you use to find casual jobs, temp jobs, and hopefully, why not, something more permanent and more official, right? You got a lot of opportunities to work. Japan is a vibrant country. For my part, I lived in the Kanagawa prefecture, which is pretty much in the greater Tokyo area. You have lots of opportunities when you live in a big city in the country. It just comes down to how creative you are. I mean, really, no matter what your skill is, you can use it to the fullest while you stay in Japan. And that's one of the reasons why I'm intending to go back to Japan, because I have so many passions and hobbies and stuff that I want to explore in the long term, in the long run, that I just simply can't do in Canada, just because of the weather, just because of the, I guess, society. If you need any assistance, if you need any tips, tricks in regards to you know, anything, just about anything when it comes to Japan. I'm not the guru of Japan, but at least I've got some experience here, and hopefully I can make it a useful experience for you guys if you need any assistance. Let me know what you want me to talk about. If you have any questions about living abroad, you know, moving away from your country, from your comfort zone, just let me know. Let me know about it, and I'd be more than proud to help you with it. So thank you very much for watching, guys. さようなら、ありがとうございます。